guys, so I'm finally back doing makeup. I'm gonna go for a pink look today. I hope you really like it. And yeah, it's good being back kind of recording makeup and everything. So yeah, hope you enjoy. I'm just gonna go in with, this is the Makeup Revolution Pro Brow Pomade in the shade Ebony, and then I'm going in with the Morphe, let me see, a Morphe JS7 brush. I'm just going to carve out the brows, or do the brows in, I should say. Then I have my eyebrows drawn on. I'm going to go in now and match them up. So I do that by using the P. Louise Rumour base in the shade 0.5, and then I also used this flat Morphe brush. I'm now going to go in and just actually match them up and get them like on fleek. To match them up, this brush kind of does all the work because I'm just placing it and then dragging it along. See, and that just carves it perfectly so that I'm not doing a lot of work. Yeah, so same with the top of the eyebrow, because this is a straight brush. This does all the work for me so that I'm not having to go in and be really precise with this. See, just like that. Like, it just does all the work for you. So, and I'm lazy, so this technique works perfectly for me with this brush. And then I bring it into the middle of my face so that I can match up two brows. And I'll show you how I make sure that they're matched up when I finish that brow in a second. The second brow, I always start off kind of from the middle of the face. So because I brought that concealer out there, I then do it like that. So it means I know that both brows kind of start where they need to start. And then the same with up top as well. I bring it out and then across like that, just to make sure that both brows match, basically. So I'm now just going to go in and place the base, that P. Louise base on the rest of the eye, and just constantly patting that in until I get the coverage that I want on that eye. Okay, so me, being the idiot that I am, forgot that in this tutorial I was talking, and for like the rest of the tutorial I stopped talking, so I'm going to have to do a voiceover. So basically the palette that I used for the eye is the P. Louise Secret Sinner palette, and the first shade that I went in with is Amore. Then the second shade I went in with was, I think it's Renovis, I don't know how to pronounce it, probably pronouncing it wrong, but I went in with that just to darken it up. Then after that I went in with Velvet Kiss, which is a reddish kind of colour, just to pop that other colours that I put on. Then I went in with Love Struck, and I mixed it with a bit of Love Shy, which is like a blacky brown kind of colour. Then then I went in with kind of my Micellar Water and just kind of carved out where I wanted the cut crease. That I have gone in and I've used this is the Lancome Bifacial, I think it's called Visage or something like that, and a little brush, and I've wiped away any eyeshadow that I don't want. I'm now going to go in with the P. Louise and Mitchell Acid Rain in Blank Canvas and a MAC 252, and I'm going to cut the crease. So as you can see, all I'm doing is going in with the MAC 252 brush, and because it's a flat concealer brush, it basically does like all the work for you. And as I said, I am lazy, so it just means that it cuts the crease kind of more definely, it cuts it better than I would than if I was using like a different brush. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to place down the eyeshadow colours that I had on before, just a diagonal shape over the eyelid. So I start off with my lightest shade and work to my darkest shade. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the Peaches and Cream Fantasy pigment. These pigments are to die for, like they are the best pigments I've ever used. They're so finely milled that they don't look chunky on the eye or anything like that. And they're not that expensive, but yeah, they're Peaches and Cream's pigments. So now I'm going in, I'm just going to put the eyeshadow colours that I put on top now underneath the eye. And again, I'm using a small bullet brush just because I think it blends everything out better underneath the eye and it doesn't look so chunky. Then I'm going to go in with the Barry M eyeshadow toppers. These are so good. You guys need to get them. Next, we're going to work on the face. So for the face, I start off using the P. Louise base in the shade 6. And I put that down kind of as a guideline for where I want my contour, and just so that I have something kind of really sharp underneath, if that kind of makes sense. But next, all I do is I put on the Flomar foundation in the shade Honey on top of that. So that gives me my coverage. The base kind of gives me the colour, and then that foundation gives me the coverage that I want on my skin. So the trick to concealer is you place it on the skin first and leave it for 2 minutes and then pat it out. You're going to find that's kind of dried down, but that gives you the coverage. So the concealer that I used was the MAC, I think it's the Studio Fix in the shade N10 or something, I should say. Then I'm going to go in with the foundation, which is my MAC Studio Fix in, I think it's NC10, same colour as the concealer. So now for powder, I'm using the Laura Mercier translucent powder. Now I know it is expensive, and I know, like, I always get asked, like, is it worth it? Girls, it is so worth it. That powder is amazing, and all I do is I just kind of pat it onto the skin. I don't rub it, but I just pat it, and I have to say it looks flawless on the skin. You'll see at the end in front of the camera that it just looks so kind of, the skin just looks so matted and clear, like it doesn't look cakey. So for contour, I'm going in with the Doll Beauty like little contour powders in the shade Deep. I think it's called Give Me Sun. But these are my favourite contour powders. So all I'm doing now is I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to get rid of kind of any of the excess powder I put on from the Laura Mercier translucent powder. So that is the finished look. I've just added my lips and kind of highlight off camera. I just used a cheap nude lipstick from Penny's, and then for the highlighting I used the Baby Doll Cosmetics highlight palette. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy, and I hope to see you guys next time for my next YouTube tutorial.